All right, so
Yeah, quite a huge revelation, you know. I mean, that's why I say, you see, sometimes it's good to hear from both sides. You know, now that I've heard from somebody who is
In the
the
camp
inner cocus, like they like to say, I rest my case. But
Yeah.
anyway, totally, we've got a guest in the building.
So we have Toye Sobande is a leadership expert and a consultant, but literally because of the event of June 12, which is even spilling over until now, we're celebrating June 12 today, and even up until 2023, we'll be talking about the June 12 experience and Nigeria's democracy in focus, and even spilling over into young people, how young people can really be part of that process, the heart of young people, because a lot of young people are, there's that apathy that a lot of young people are facing now, especially with even wanting to vote in 2023. Sure. They're not happy. And you obviously also work with young people, so how can we put things in focus? What should be the perspective of young people right now, generally?
Aside from working with young people, I'm a young person myself.
Nice.
Good morning, good to see you guys.
Yes, again.
Thank you. It's quite sad, the situation in which our country is today. When you look at the first set of guys that ruled this country, I'm deliberately with the use of the word ruled this country. They were in their 30s. Nnamdi Azikiwe was 42 when he became head of state, if I'm not wrong. Wow. General Gowon was 28 or 29 when he became head of state. So if the foundation of our nation was built on the youthfulness of our leaders, what had gone wrong in the last 60 years? I'm not despising the wisdom of the old. We need it. We need it for mentoring, for coaching. But at this point in time, when will a young person be old enough to take responsibility, not only for their lives, but for their future? You know what that part of the scripture says? Hope deferred makes the heart sick. That's exactly what is happening to the nation right now and to the youth. In 2015, we have never been this hopeful like this. The last set of opportunity we had to be hopeful was 1993 June 12 elections. I was a young boy. I was part of the struggle. I practically slept in Abiola's house when we were campaigning and campaigning for the mandate to be returned. I was a student union leader. I was a young boy. I was probably 18 or 19 at the time. I think I was 19. And I remember the pictures vividly. I remember the hope. I remember the announcement, the effect of the announcement of Abiola's death on me. I wept that day. And my dad was wondering, sorry, I'm your father. Are you now related to the Abiola family that you are with? I wept for a long time. I was a young student at the Polytechnic. The effect it had on me 25 years ago, and here we are.
Okay, I mean...
Wow, what can I say? It's heavy to hear this, but the question I would ask you is there a shift in blame? Do you see this as a shift in blame? And I'll tell you what I mean. A popular Instagram influencer said something about how he feels that the current, not government now, but the leaders who have ruled us in the past are looking to blaming young people for the problems that they have caused, like you said, in the last 60 years. Take, for example, the one they just did, Twitter ban.
Yeah.
Twitter is for the young people, obviously, and it is a platform that that young people have used to express themselves. So, is there like how do we begin to bridge that divide where old people feel you young people are the problem, young people feel you old people are the problem, you've been the problem? How do we come together and make sure that we don't have these loggerheads anymore and work for a better cause?
You know the ironic thing, there's a psychological dimension to blame gaming.
Yeah.
If I want to distract you from the real issues, I'll look for something that is personal to you to blame you or attack you on. It will distract you from the main issue. So that blame gaming that you are saying is a distraction from the real issue. What is the real issue about this country? We want Nigeria developed. We want Nigeria free of corruption. We want Nigeria where everybody can live free of fear of insecurity, sudden death, where basic infrastructure is provided and is available. That is the focus. Irrespective of your religion or your tribe, we want Nigeria to look like America. Development, where there is job. That's what we are discussing.
Okay.
Blaming the youth or blaming the elders now and saying you are responsible, you are not ready for leadership, you are this, is a distraction, complete distraction from the main issue. The main issue is how do we become a developed country? What leadership criteria do we need to put into place to select the appropriate people who will lead us into that promised land? What is the criteria that we can identify a candidate with, either his political party is fielding him or not, or is an independent candidate or not? Whoever comes out to want to represent us, what are the standard of measurement of performance and of effectiveness in leadership do we need to put into place before anybody gets in? That's what we should be discussing, irrespective of the person's age. Not the blame. What has happened in time past. But you find out that the people who are creating the confusion use two instruments, religion and ethnicity, to divide us.
Sure. But let me just pick it up with, because the focus is really young people. How can young people get their voices out there in times like this, with all the challenges that we have faced with the NSAS, and it's almost like a challenge to really find a young person or young people who can actually be credible in 2023?
The truth is, every problem is an opportunity to invent something new. The youths have the greatest opportunity at this point in time. Whether Twitter is banned or anything is banned or not, you already have the platform. You are the one controlling the tech industry. Create your own Twitter. Maybe that's what will make somebody in Nigeria be a major competitor to Twitter. Who knows? So how do we do that? The youth should focus on developing competence and character. Competence in terms of being able to do the job, having the right leadership skills. And like I said here the last time, leadership is a soft skill. It's based on your people ability, how to manage people, how to be kind to people. That's what leadership is. It's not promising road, you constructed road, you constructed toilets, you did pipe.
Can I be honest with you? Because when you hear political, let me agree with you and allow you to expatiate even more. When you hear political leaders talk, it's as if they are disconnected from the masses.
True.
That you don't feel that empathetic love from even the statement they make.
Yeah.
You know, so how do we begin to
Accountability.
accept and demand, like she said, accountability from our office holders? Yes, we want to be in the right path. We want to make Nigeria a developed country. But like you said, if these little qualities are not there, how do we even go?
I love that question about the how. You know, the ironic thing, the how is in place already. For example, look at what Seun Nigbide and his friends are doing. We budget it. That's a major landmark. If the youth can latch on it and debate the content of each budget and put the current office holders, I don't call them leaders, current office holders, accountable for each item on the budget. But you know what? We are not interested in the budget. We are just interested on Instagram, and instant stories, and show the latest makeup and buy the latest ashwebi. Let's divert our attention to the content of that budget. How much is being voted for education? How much is being voted for infrastructural development? How much is being voted for this, that? You know, look into those critical things. That is how you will find expression to the critical issues. To be very candid, I don't want to sound like a government apologist, but what I think this government has done is that they, in their own cocoon, are doing a lot of things right, but disconnected in not communicating with the people that are doing things right for. For example, if I'm planning a birthday surprise for you, it will be very hard. If I'm planning a birthday surprise and I don't know your movement or your schedule. It's until I gain insight into your schedule and find somebody who can communicate with you and give me information, that is when I can plan the surprise for you. You can't be planning development for Nigeria and Nigerians without involving Nigerians. They're not communicating. That's a huge gap. And when they get a feedback from the youth, they see it as an attack of the opposition.
Yes.
And that is where there is a failure in leadership. And I hope somebody will tell those in leadership that you are doing amazing work, but nobody will know your amazing work.
Like
nobody will recognize it if you don't communicate. One thing I respect, and I'm sorry I'm going to use this as an example, Hitler. Throughout the period of the war, Hitler was always communicating with Germans every morning. 7 a.m. he's giving a speech about critical issues that people need to be aware of per time. How many times do we get our leaders communicate with us? It's always recorded messages.
Okay.
Nothing spontaneous.
Okay, because we really need to wrap up. I'll just ask this one last question. What should the disposition be for every young person towards 2023?
Gain competence, gain character, give meaning to your life. Don't expect any government to make your life better. You have to decide to be your own local government. I know it is tough economically, but where there is a problem is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to, whatever business idea you have, be hardworking, be dedicated, be diligent. Show competence on the job. You will literally float to the top. I've been on this game for a few years, and if money shouldn't be priority, I know money is important. I know there's a need for that. But cut your coat according to your size, or cut your coat according to the material you have on your hands. So live within your means of income, plan towards your future, invest in your future now, get education. I know it's tough paying school fees now, foreign education. I'm running a PhD program. It's costing me thousands of dollars for 4 years to do that. And I know how tough and how difficult it takes away your self-esteem if you have to go around and be begging people for money. So focus on developing yourself. Then keep your eye on the ball. You want to participate in governance. How do I participate in governance? Get close to those who are in government. Join a political party. You can't be making noise from outside. Be a member of a political party. Go for their meetings. Attend, seek them out. Don't go from the angle of criticism. Go from the angle of I want to know. Don't go from the angle I'm challenging them. Go from the angle of respect. Why? Because the older people value respect. And one of the things they have against the youth is that you are not respectful. You talk to them anyhow. Can you talk to your father at home? All these children of anger. That's what they are using against us. And to some extent, they are right. Because a lot of our youth are highly irreverent. No regard for anybody, even for their own parents at home. But that does not justify pushing a youth down and saying they should not talk. A youth should talk. And it's cultural. This ability, this thing about shutting people down from not talking and not expressing themselves, is because our culture is hierarchical and it's relationship focused. An hierarchical structure like that does not allow for feedback. So our youth must be culturally aware, and our elders must also be culturally aware that there's a change in dynamics. Where in the Sorosoke generation, they don't keep quiet. So you have to allow for dissenting voice.
To be honest, I think that's the major problem to understand, because around the world, you could see that is a change mantra. Young people are beginning to understand, and that's why you see that it feels like political world powers are against tech giants, because they are driven by young people.
Thank you.
And those young people are the ones
They're
now
powerful.
They're very powerful. As a matter of fact, there was a G7 summit not too long ago, and they talked about how they want to this G7 countries want to increase taxation from the tech companies, your Twitter, because they're making a lot of money. And that conversation too has happened, where they're asking questions. How do you tax a Twitter that is domiciled in the United States? How do you tax him in Nigeria because he's doing business? So these are conversations that the older generation, like you said, need to understand and have with, quite insightful speech that you've given.
Because of time, I would have really hampered more on the protest and the effect of whether or not protesting is the way forward, because at the end of the day, it seems like that's from the government's part. Protesting is like you're defying the government.
Protest is valid.
It's like
it's
a
valid.
stain.
It's still like a
They feel
stain,
like
but
it's
it
a stain
doesn't
on
hit
The
hard.
current government rode into power on the basis of protest.
I mean,
so if the former president was that bad, how come he allowed us to protest as much as we protested then? And he didn't clamp on us. So why are we clamping on them now?
True.
Protest is valid. If anybody who says we should not protest is missing the point. However, there's something called scientific aluta. You can do your protest in a scientific way, in a more strategic way. If they don't let us go on the street, there's a place we can go to the airwaves, use our tech insight, our technical abilities to create mediums and platforms of expressions that we can put our voice out there. That way, no police can harass you. That way, nobody can tear gas you. That way, no police can shoot you. So there's a balance and there's a wisdom to it. Protest is a right of every Nigerian citizen. However, it must be scientifically done. It must be done with wisdom, especially when you know the character of the people in government. You don't play into their hands. That's the approach.
Wow, I mean, you said so much, but unfortunately because of time, we've got to, and I'm hoping that everyone who's watching can really just learn, benefit from the wealth of what he just said, and just plug in yourself as a young person, not just wait for the government, because we are the government. And the person has said that you are lazy Nigerians. I said it even in the interview that to the young people promise him, unless the young people promise him that they would do better. And I'm like,
well, I don't blame the president
there's a
for saying that.
disconnect.
The environment the president maybe have been exposed to is filled with lazy youth. So he's not interacting with the hardworking Nigerians who are bringing in income. So he's surrounded with those who might have been lazy, and the perspective they gave him. So I think it was an innocent mistake on the part of the president. And it was just a short, limited perspective based on the environment he's exposed to. He's used to the people who are begging for money around him, who are lazy. But there are a lot of us on the street, people like you and I, who are here.
It is amazing to see. It's amazing to see. And that's why, the Twitter ban worries me a lot, because
it's unfortunate.
It feels like not enough thought process went into that.
No.
Had you have 40 million young Nigerians out of Twitter. Now, out of that 40 million, you have about 30 or 35 million